jumping out of traditional finance using very untraditional methods. And we welcome you all today. It sounds like we're having a fiesta in the background. Again. I mean, the past couple of days now, it's been a lot going on for us and the people in our place. So, we're welcoming it all. So we're going to give y'all little 1-2s with our info. What we talking about today, boo?
We're talking about mining.
Mining?
Yes.
What kind of mining? You talking about like gold mining?
Nah, like, little Bitcoin mining,
I rocks with that.
Yeah, where
Didn't know much.
Yeah, a little passive income play.
You know what? Come on, let's break this down. Because mining, honestly, we were a little, not saying skeptical, but we were a little questionable about like why people were so into mining.
Yeah.
And then when we found out the details into mining, we were more prone to saying that's what we want to do. So you want to start them off?
Yeah. So ultimately, what happened with us is we went to the Bitcoin conference.
Sorry, that's just the beat. I know y'all hear it.
We went to the Bitcoin conference, and what we noticed was so many mining companies there. Like so many mining companies there.
It was
a shitload. Excuse me. We got a little jumper in the room.
We got one of our jumpers as our camera crew today, so we're trying to be a little bit more,
adult censored.
Yes.
But there were so many mining companies.
It was.
And like what people were telling us was that last year it was all about wallets.
Yes.
And so we assumed that this year was all about mining.
Mm-hmm.
And, mining, we did our own mining. Let's not give some credit to us too.
Yes, we did.
We did our own little
smaller
projects
versions, with the helium,
like little HNC miner,
we did.
And that was a learning experience, but we didn't look at it from what we're going to explain in the ways that we're looking at it now, right?
Yes.
So what we learned is that the big thing with mining is hash ratio, right? So your hash ratio is basically like, if you look at it from a stance of Bitcoin, with a better hash ratio, you have a better chance, not a guaranteed chance, of earning or mining this Bitcoin, right? Your hash ratio is also determined by your electricity, right? So you hear a lot of people, a lot of like environmentalists, and they talk about electricity and stuff like that. Make my eyes roll. But anyways, you do want to have cheaper electricity, right? Because you don't want to be paying galores for this, electricity.
And it doesn't make sense.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. So it's just like, that's as far as we're going to go into the details of like the specifics of mining. It's just that we understand that hash ratio is important, and you want cheap electricity.
Yes. So for me, what made me really, really, really understanding is the privacy part of it. There's no KYC when you're doing in-home mining. Like when you have a miner within your home, there's no KYC. So for us, we also realize that, like will dollar cost average into certain projects, things like that. But that's already information that we've been given. And so with the no KYC aspect of it, it's like no one knows basically what you have. And a lot of bigger companies, a lot of people that have more of the money to put up these projects to mine, that's why they have what they have and they obtain what they obtain, and nobody's able to come in and play with it, is because there's no KYC. So for me, that was one of the biggest things. Like, oh my goodness, like, yes, we are doing all of these other things, and yes, they do have the information. And if something was to happen with the feds, with the government, which we know is going to happen, a lot of people who understand that no KYC, that have been really pumping their money into it, they're going to have a lesser chance of dealing with the bullshit. When when the greedy ones want to come and get their money now, because they slow as hell, they not understanding what we got going on. But when they understand what's going on, they want their cut. No KYC. So for me, it's privacy. It's a lot of privacy.
Because it's like the self-hosting aspect, the self-hosting of when you're self-hosting your miner, right? So for me, what went off for my head was when we were at the conference, there was actually a company called Ant Miner, right? Antbox. Antbox was set up at the conference, and they actually had, feels like it's something on my mouth right here. Or is it just the music vibrating?
It's vibrating, girl. Everything's vibrating in this room right now. Everything. My toes are vibrating right now. My hair, feel my hair vibrating.
So what stood out for me was when I looked at Antbox, it literally legit was a container. And you've heard about tiny homes, right? So it
Tell
was
'em.
it was legit a tiny home container, but inside of it, instead of it being a home, there were miners. And for me, what went off, I was like, oh shit. So you can literally invest into a mining for your as a real estate situation,
Yep.
where like you can buy the land, put this container on the land, and then self-host and put your miners into the container. Now, you may be thinking like, well, how is that like real estate? Well, one, you're buying the land, right? And then you're creating a passive income play, just like if you were to rent out a house, just like if you were to Airbnb.
But you're not dealing with no funky ass people.
You
I'm
don't
sorry,
even
you're
have
dealing
to
with
deal with
machines.
people.
So you can come in here and not have to even talk
Yes.
to why, who, what, when, where it's
Yes.
not working.
Yes.
You're dealing with the machine or
Yes.
something like that.
Yes.
So for me personally, somebody who's funny on people, when we looked at it that way as well, I said, oh yeah, but them Airbnbs now, yep, we're going on to this.
Yeah, no, legit. And the other thing too is that if you like with investment properties, like you hear about like when you think about plazas, you think about town centers. That's not usually one person. That's a company.
Yes.
It's a group of investors.
It's a cartel.
Right. It's a cartel, like
be
how
real.
we are. We're a cartel, right? So it's just like if you looked at the mining aspect from that perspective, you can get 5 of your friends and say, hey, look, you put up this amount. We're going to get this. It's going to cover our land and it's going to cover the purchase of the miners, right?
Mhm.
Now, granted, you still need somebody to, you know, like a manager or operations person
Yes.
to, you know, check on the miners
Yes.
to make sure everything's working properly. Like you still need those things, but look at it from an Airbnb perspective. You're still communicating with the tenants, you're still texting them, you're still sending out emails. It's just that creating that person just for mining.
Mm-hmm.
So it was just like, oh my god, so all we need to do is just find land.
Yep.
Now granted, we have heard of substations, right?
Yes.
Now I've been noticing, and we actually looked it up and found like where in your area you can even look up to see what substations are in your area.
Yeah.
Now, you don't have to be near the substation, but it is
Praise God, this joint is getting so much louder. They got the Holy Ghost back here, y'all. Y'all don't understand. Hey. Okay, I'm sorry. We're focusing. Go ahead.
But what it does do though is if you are closer to a substation, you could have a better hash ratio.
Mhm.
It's not guaranteed. So don't take my words and like, oh yeah, you need to be near a substation. But if you are,
I can't
it
remember how to
does
put the Holy
increase your
Ghost. I'm
hash
so
ratio. We're sorry, guys. This is just a
You
lot
don't
going
understand.
on.
It's a lot. And our camera guy is catching the Holy Ghost, guys. I wish you could see this. It's our new hire. It's the little jumper. One of our little jumpers.
A new production assistant.
But no, literally, like all jokes aside though,
Yeah.
literally the hash, that is very important because
Yeah.
like you said, when it comes down to how electricity fluctuates and things like that, it's very important to know.
Yeah,
It's very important to
Yeah,
know.
and they also what we also learned at the conference were that they have miners now that are all in one. Remember the
Yeah.
company that we
Yeah.
went to?
It was like the
a
node,
a
the
wallet, and a miner.
Yes.
all in one. Now, granted, they're on back order right now. What is the name of that company?
Future Bit.
FutureBit. Yeah, and we actually talked to them at the
Yes,
conference.
one of the representatives. We
Yeah, and she was really dry.
Mm-hmm.
You remember that?
She was mad dry. She didn't want to really give us information.
Yeah, so
It's
we
okay.
were just asking simple questions, but they have a really dope product,
Mhm.
and it's like if you don't want to do something like on the scale of
At a
what we're
grand scale.
yes
To start off small.
Yes.
It's about $1,000 possibly
Yeah.
for the whole entire
Mhm,
thing.
mhm.
And it's really to just start small.
Yeah.
And we're all about starting small. And we are going to start whenever we can get in contact with them and they have more available.
Yeah, 'cause they're on
We
back
said-
order right
Yeah, they
now.
are on back order. We
Yeah.
said that we wanted to try and get one and then kind of keep you all updated. Yeah.
So
It's jumping, boy.
how much did let's talk about price.
Yes.
So with the ant box, I don't recall the price, but I do recall it being over. The total investment was over $100,000.
Yes, because the box itself to get the container and to lay the concrete, that was $30,000 by itself.
Okay.
And then we know that it held 160 miners.
Yes.
Okay.
Mhm.
So 160 miners, times whatever that number
Yes.
is, plus the $30,000, plus you got to get the land.
Yes.
So you're looking at I'm gonna say roughly $300,000 to $500,000 to start off with. I'm just saying, depending on how full you want to put everything.
If you want,
now you don't have to fill it up though. That's what we learned.
Yes, we
you
did
do
learn
not
that.
have to have a container and start off with all of them to be filled up. You can gradually go.
Correct.
And then that's what we talked about, getting other people in to help host them, correct?
Yes.
So we would be the house.
Yes.
And then we would get other people in that would, if they wanted to host under what we had going, right?
Yeah, because people, it's just like people always need space, right? So it's just like people want to get into mining, but they don't have the space for mining. So if we already can have the space, then you can put your miner in there, use our space, but we're definitely going to charge you.
Absolutely.
It's just like real estate.
It is. It's honestly, to me, for me, it's easier because I don't have to deal with a lot of personalities. For me,
yes,
it's easier because it's literally you're
she don't
talking.
like nobody.
Yeah, I mean, I'm very funny. I like people, but you got to be on that same wavelength that like mine. You know about that, but no, it because honestly, with real estate, it's very lucrative, but it does get time consuming and frustrating when you're dealing with the tedious complaints of people,
right?
And sometimes people can be very petty.
Yeah. So for us, mining, we liked it from a real estate perspective, and we liked it from a no
passive,
KYC
and a passive income perspective. Yes.
Yeah, I think it's definitely a phenomenal passive income play,
Yes.
And I think it gives you a good option to leverage and to create additional sources of income. A lot of times we hear people talk about Bitcoin and energy.
Oh
my God, right? Now, the thing about when you're mining Bitcoin, it is renewable energy.
Yes.
I want to highlight that, right? It's renewable. It's not like Christmas lights.
And this hurts my heart
because I
am
Christmas.
a Christmas.
I love Christmas too.
Person, and I will throw a Christmas light up. I probably still have a Christmas light up to just be happy in my mind. Nevertheless, though, when it comes down to energy, it's trash. It's trash compared to Bitcoin. It's trash. It uses up so much unnecessary energy. Yeah. It's beautiful. But it's not worth anything.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. And I think also too with the privacy standpoint, we were talking about privacy, right?
Very big on privacy, very big on people not knowing our business. So therefore, when it comes down to the in-home, your self-custody, mining, self-hosting mining. I'm sorry if I'm using the wrong word.
No, you're
but it's
right.
It's you're mining in your home. That's where that privacy comes in at. You get more of that privacy rather than you would go to a bigger company.
So bigger companies, they host.
Yes.
Yeah, they're hosting it, where it's just like we're self-hosting it.
Yes.
And the privacy standpoint. So it's just like, just so you guys understand that difference.
Take out that middleman.
Yeah.
It's taking out the middleman. When you self-host in your own, you're taking out that middleman, and then it's more money for you, and then it's more privacy for you.
And by us self-hosting, what we're doing is we're creating our own community.
Yep.
That's how we're looking at it, like real estate. Like you're creating this. What's the word I'm looking for? Like when you have like your portfolio, right? Like if you think about it from a portfolio standpoint, like a community standpoint, like we're creating this own community by self-hosting and privacy and. It just sets us up in that standpoint.
Yeah, it's literally like you have it. Like I looked at when we talked about it from the real estate aspect, I looked at it as I was a landlord of this building, and I could bring in at least 160 tenants. If I couldn't fill my building up based upon the people that I knew, I could bring in at least from I'm gonna just say Antbox. That's the one that just keeps sticking in my head because he was very informative. He really gave it to us. And so now, and if I can't put 160 of my people in, I'll bring some more people in. And then that way, now I'm not worried about filling it up my own. I have other people in the community. They're making money. Of course, they're giving us a percentage of using our actual building.
Yes.
And then we move forward from there. Yep.
I was trying to catch the beat.
I couldn't catch it either.
They were breaking it down.
I know. I couldn't catch it. I dropped it. But yeah. So overall,
privacy, renewable energy, no KYC.
Yep.
Looking at it from a real estate, these are just some
passive
terms.
Income.
Passive income. These are just some terms that we want to make sure that you understand and we didn't miss when we were talking about it, because we don't want any hate mail talking about, oh, you guys don't care about the environment.
Exactly.
Shut the fuck up.
Guess what? The environment has been over. It was over. If it wasn't when y'all was smoking weed and in the 60s and the 50s and the 70s, we can't do shit about it now. So I don't want to hear nothing about the environment. It's not for us to fix.
Yeah. So we're, as a unit, we're definitely looking into mining.
We are.
Yep.
We are. So
and we hope you do too.
Yes. So we will leave you all a couple of links from some of the information and resources that we found.
Yes.
And as always, leave your questions and your comments down below, and we will hit you up as soon as we can. So we hope you all got some information on this. Right?
Yes.
All right. And until